What's up everyone, welcome to my new video. If you're new here, please hit the subscribe button below and hit the notification bell for new videos almost every week. Let's get right into it. Derrick Henry is indisputably one of the best running backs in the league right now. Arguably, he's the best running back in the league. He ran for 2,000 yards this year, becoming the 8th person in NFL history to ever do that. On top of that, he humiliates defenders every week. Stiff-arming them into a different dimension or just trucking right through them. He humiliates fully grown NFL athletes every single week. He's so big and so dominant, there's just nothing he can't do. He's one of the best running backs in the league. Last Sunday, the Ravens beat the Titans 20-13 in the NFL wildcard round, and they held Derrick Henry to just 40 yards on 18 carries. That gives him only 2.2 yards per carry compared to his 5.4 yards per carry during the regular season. That is an incredible feat that the Ravens just accomplished. But how did they do it? How did they slow down such a dominant runner on such a dominant rushing attack, arguably the best running back in the league? Well, it comes down to one thing, one very simple thing that every football fan knows is very important: dominating up front. The Ravens' defensive line, with Calais, Campbell, Brandon Williams, Yannick Ngakoue, Matthew Judon, they were all playing extremely well during that game. They were able to absolutely dominate the Titans up front. And that is what led to Derrick Henry's lack of yardage. Not Derrick Henry playing bad by any means. He did the best he could. But the Ravens' defensive line was able to hold up against the Titans' offensive line, and that was what cost the Titans the game. What stood out to me on film was that the Titans' offensive line desperately needs better personnel. The interior of their offensive line particularly. Their starting right guard, Nate Davis, cost them a lot of big plays that they could have had. When I was watching film, that stands out a lot. In addition, their fullback was not getting any of the blocks that they asked him to, and those tight ends on the edges weren't blocking up the way they wanted them to. Let's start off by talking about the interior of their offensive line's performance. Let's check out this play right here. If you take a look, the right guard number 64, Nate Davis, did not play very well on this play. Davis is responsible for moving that 3-technique tackle, who happens to be Justin Madubuike, the rookie out of Texas A&M. He's supposed to move him to the left to open up a gap between him and the right tackle, who is supposed to move Pernell McPhee away from him in order to open up a hole between them. In addition, the fullback 41 is supposed to run right between them and block up that linebacker 40 in order to open up the run lane for Henry to go all the way to the house. However, 64 was unable to block up Madubuike the way he was expected to, and Madubuike simply just pushed him right into the gap to close it up. That caused Pernell McPhee to get off of his block and was able to make the play on Derrick Henry to only allow 1 yard on this play. If 64 makes his assignment, then 71 can only hold his block for as long as he's supposed to, and then the fullback is going to get in there and block up that linebacker, and before you know it, Derrick Henry's in the end zone. But that's not what happened because of that poor interior offensive line play. The Titans desperately need a good guard to replace one of those guards that they have to fix that exact problem that happens so often on their offense. To be fair, it's not just to blame on the interior of the offensive line. The interior of Baltimore's defensive line is one of the best in the league. They have Calais Campbell and Brandon Williams. Brandon Williams stands at 335 pounds, and Calais Campbell is 6 foot 8 inches and 300 pounds. So you can't blame the interior of this offensive line for struggling. These guys are huge, and it's hard to keep them out of the holes. However, they were unable to do anything about it, and that is what cost the Titans this game. They just couldn't handle the size on Baltimore's defensive line, and that's what I'm talking about, the domination up front. Baltimore's size and strength up there with Brandon Williams and Calais Campbell, like I said, and also other guys like Justin Madubuike on this play. That size and that strength up front is exactly what makes the Ravens' defensive line so dominant, and that is why no one can just run between the tackles on them. Here's another play that shows the same idea of the Baltimore's dominance on the interior of the offensive line. This time it's Brandon Williams on the Titans' left guard. The Titans are trying to run another play to the left side of their offensive line, or the right when you're looking at it from this angle, and that left guard is trying to push Brandon Williams away towards our left to get him out of the way to open up a hole there. But Brandon Williams is just too big and strong. He's not going to let that happen. So what he does is he pushes that guard into the hole, which closes the hole too quickly for Derrick Henry to be able to get through, and they're stuffed for a 1 yard gain. This is the type of stuff that happened all game long, and why Mike Vrabel was probably so frustrated that they couldn't get the run game between the tackles going. Stuff like this was going on all game long, and they weren't ready for it because last time they played the Ravens in Week 11, Brandon Williams and Calais Campbell were injured, so they didn't have to deal with this last time, and that's part of why Derrick Henry had a big game. But this time, you got that size up front back, and Derrick Henry was unable to get through, and their guards could not handle that size. So the Titans' personnel on the interior of the offensive line is without a doubt one of their biggest problems on their offense. Another big problem that the Titans had for them during this game was that you had tight ends trying to block edge rushers like Matt Judon and Pernell McPhee the whole game, and that's not going to go very well for the offense. On this play right here, you have 10 players on the line of scrimmage, so everyone and their mama knows that the Titans are going to run the ball here, and they're close to the goal line. That's what they always do, just pound Derrick Henry into the end zone. So here, the Titans are going to have number 85 all the way on the right, the tight end, trying to block 36 Chuck Clark. That's a favorable matchup for the offense. But then, the second tight end from the right, number 87, is trying to block Matt Judon. Matt Judon, the one that had 6 sacks during the season, that's not going to go well for him. So when 87 steps over there to try and block Matt Judon, Judon runs right past him. What else did you expect to happen? And then you got Judon in the backfield before Derrick Henry can even look up, and he's on the ground for a TFL of 3 yards. That kind of thing was going on all game long. You had at least 4 plays during this game where a tight end was trying to block an edge rusher like Matt Judon or Pernell McPhee, and it didn't end well for the Titans. I don't know if this was a mistake in the play design or if it's something that they just thought they could handle, but whatever it was, it didn't go well for them because the edge rushers got the best of that matchup every single time. If you have George Kittle and you're trying to do that, by all means, go ahead and let George Kittle block Matt Judon. But you don't have George Kittle. So I don't know what factors went into this, but like I said, whatever it was, it just didn't go well for them at all, and it cost them a few big runs that they could have had if they would have drawn that up better. So these two main problems, the interior offensive line personnel and the tight ends blocking the edge rushers, that was the two main problems that cost the Titans this game, and why their run game was neutralized by the Ravens defense in this game. So what should the Titans do to fix this problem in the offseason? They know they have an issue on the interior of their offensive line, so what can they do this offseason? There are a few different moves they can make, and they have some really good options. First of all, they have the 22nd overall pick, and at that pick, there's this guard out of Ohio State named Wyatt Davis, who is an absolute beast. If he somehow falls to them, then they should snatch that up really quick because that would be a great pick for them, and he would fit right into their offense because they need someone like him. Some more options they have for some guards they could try and get their hands of. There are some big names heading into free agency, some really good guards, like Brandon Scherf. If he doesn't get re-signed by the Washington football team and the Titans can somehow get their hands on him in free agency, that would be an amazing acquisition. Another guy they could get their hands on, try and get their hands on, is Joe Thuney from the New England Patriots, but I think that the Patriots and the Washington football team, for that matter, are going to sign their guys back, but you never know what could happen. There's also some other pretty solid interior offensive linemen hitting free agency, so they should do everything they can to get their hands on one of those guys. If they can do that, if they can either get Wyatt Davis in the draft, or if they can get one of those big name guards in free agency, or both, that would be amazing for them, and that problem on the interior of their offensive line would be fixed. If Derrick Henry can hit 2,000 yards without a good offensive line, without a great interior of their offensive line, I mean, they have Taylor Lewan on the left side, but he was just injured since a few weeks ago. If they can get an interior offensive lineman who can do the job for them and help them run more efficiently between the tackles, who knows what Derrick Henry is going to do in the future. Thank you all so much for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like and subscribe button below. I have a brand new channel, so any subscription would help out so much. If you want to comment down below, feel free to comment, and I'm going to do my best to respond to every comment. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.